Hello and welcome to the video lecture series brought to you by St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. My name is Ravinder, and in this video lecture series we are discussing the subject called Object Technologies and Programming in Java. And today we are in second phase of gathering some knowledge about the input-output systems in Java. Okay, so today we are going to see how to write to a file using Java code and how to read from a file using Java, and also how to write to console and how you can actually read from the console. Okay, so I will directly move ahead to the IDE and we'll start implementing the code. And this one topic that is reading file and writing to a file is actually the concept that you can most easily understand by actually doing it. So there is no theoretical part in it. Let me again remind you that we have several of the classes that can perform this particular function. You can which kind of class subclass you're going to use to write to a file or to read from a file, that is which kind of stream you want to open to for the input output solely depends upon the data, the type of data do you want. Okay, but today I'm going to show you how to read from a file and how to write to a file using the character stream. And when we are going to discuss the topic of strings in the second unit, I'm also going to show you the reading to a file and writing to a file using the byte stream also, that is the buffered system. But today we are going to use the file writer and file reader classes, the object of those classes to implement the file reading and writing. So I'll move ahead. I've already created a class here. So let's start doing this. It's going to be a long code. So first of all, the class we are going to use is FileWriter, which has been defined in the character stream class inside, and this FileWriter class, which the name suggests is good, can be used to write to a particular file, is used actually, or it actually extends the input section of your character stream class. Okay, so I'm not going into the too much details here, or it's otherwise it's going to make a doubt or create some confusion in your head. So we'll keep that very simple. We're going to keep it very concise and just stick to the requirements of our syllabus only. Okay, so let's move ahead. So first let's uh, create an object of the class FileWriter. Let's say my file is, and now I will just assign it with null value. Okay. Now it's showing me here, uh, sorry, it's showing me that something is not right. So I will try to fix it. All we have done here is we have imported a package called java.input.filewriter. So you can now understand, as we have told in the last lecture also, all the input output streams are being defined in the java.io package. If you don't remember the exact class, you can always call something like java import java.io.star. That means you will import the whole package of the input output system. But as I know the exact class in which the file writer objects blueprint has been, let's say, defined, so I can import that particular class only from the package java.io, and this will make my code during the runtime concise and fast. So next, let's start. As I have told you in the last lecture also, all the input output objects, all the input output functionality tend to throw some input output exceptions. So whatever you are going to do, you are going to do that inside a try and catch block. That is, if you're going to use this particular object of type file writer that is used for writing to a particular file, you must do the functionality inside the try block. and we have already discussed the exception handling. Now inside this try block, first I will initialize or instantiate the object my file which I have already earlier assigned as null. Okay, so I will do my file is equal to new of type file, sorry, file writer. Okay, and inside the arguments I will pass the name of the file to which I want to write to. So I'll write my file uh, 2.txt. That's a text file, so I want to write to a text file. If this file is already in your directory, then from the next line, uh, the text that we want to enter, or the material that we want to print to that particular file will be printed out, erasing the earlier written files there. We have different streams. We have different type of classes which do the functionalities. That is, if you want to keep your earlier file stored inside the my file2.txt, then we can use a different class for doing that. Now in this case I'm using just the basic one, that is, if there is my file2.txt and if there is something written in it, then it will be erased, and my content, or the content that I'm going to print there just now, will be the only content in the file. And if this file dot my that is my file2.txt is not there, then this file will be created automatically by the Java system or by your system. Okay, you don't have to worry if my file2.txt is there or not. If it is not there, it will be created on the runtime. So let's move ahead. Now we have to find some material that we can write to this file. So just let's say I will initialize a for loop. Oops. So I have initialized a for loop. I must be less than 10 and I plus plus. I think people are pretty familiar with the for loop until now, right now. So inside this, I will call the method called write method, which is being defined in the FileWriter class to write something to the file. So I'll call the object first, my file, or use the object first, and call the method write. Now this is just like system.out.println, but instead of writing to the console in that case, I am actually writing it to the file. Okay. So I will pass some string there, that is, I am writing add iteration number plus, let's say, I. Okay, so in which iteration we are, it's going to write it. Okay, now after writing to the file, it is must for you to close the file. Okay, it is absolutely must for you to close the file. So what I'm going to use, I'm going to use the object my file and the method called close, and this will actually close your file. If you don't do this, then it might be possible that your file, which has not been closed by your application, will be locked, and if that file is locked, other applications might not be able to use it, or it is going to throw out an exception which you may not have thought of before, and it will not be encountered with, and your application may crash. So it is absolutely must for you to close the file. So let's go along with the catch, and the exception it is going to throw is IO exception, and all I will do here is print the stack trace. Okay, we have discussed this already. Now, okay, I think I forgot one here, and I think one more. Oh yes. Okay. Now we have one problem here. As you know, we have discussed in the exception handling that the line which throws out the exception, okay, we have used two methods, one method here called myfile.write, and the file is, if the file is not really already been opened, or if there is any other input or output exception, then the exception will be thrown out of this block and will be catched by the catch block. And in that case, the line called myfile.close will never be executed, and your file will remain open. Okay, so if putting this particular instruction here in the try block is not very advisable. So what we'll do here is we'll use the finally block, which we have already discussed in the exception handling. And as you know, whatever be written in the finally block will be executed if there is exception or not, if there is an exception thrown out or not. So it is basically mandatory to execute this particular line. Okay. Now inside the finally block, again, because myfile.close is using an input output method, it is going to throw out an exception. Okay, now it is basically hard to imagine that to get out and let's say ill process of not closing the file, we again have to go into that particular process. Okay, so we're going to kill the man with a man. That is basically the funda here. So I will again try to do that inside the try block, and in this case we'll only go inside, we'll only execute this particular file if the file is not closed already. That is, if my file is not equal to null. Sorry. So if my file has not already been closed, only then I will get inside this block. And again, my file dot close. Okay, and the catch block. Oh, sorry. And the IO exception E, and again print the stack trace E dot P, and that is it. And now I can remove this from here. You have no use. And okay, so inside the finally, first, because the close method is defined in an input output package, so it's going to throw out, it might throw out an input output exception, so we have to wrap it inside a try catch block. So I have done that, and I will only execute this particular instruction only and only if my file is not closed, that is object is not closed, that is stream has not been closed. Okay, now if then this particular conditional statement will test that, and if this object is not being closed, then obviously my file.close will close it, the particular stream, to the file myfile2.txt. And if that has been already been closed, so we are not going to execute any instructions of input output package or class, and in that case there will be no exceptions thrown out of this particular block. So it's a win-win situation already. So let's try to run this. Okay, yeah, I want to run main to Java, and I think we are done with it. Let's see consoles if there are any problems. No. Now all we have to do now is go to the directory and find out if there is a file called myfile2.txt, and if it is there, then is there anything written in it or not? That is, are we successfully, or do we have successfully opened a stream class, input output stream class, and closed it? Okay, so let's go there. Yes, there is a file called myfile2.txt. Let's try to open it, and yes, there is. Okay, we have received the data, but it is not printing in another line because I have not provided it with the escape sequence. So I'll do it now. We can do something like okay, I will again run this particular class. So this time I think problem must be should be, yeah, okay. So I'm writing an iteration number 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, and as you can see, the data written before that is the first time I have run the class, has been erased. Now we have classes, we have streams which do not do that, which keeps your older data and just embed the new data at the end of the starting of the new line, so you can use that. But in this case I am just sticking to the basics only, and if you want to read it, you can go through the whole library of input outputs and you will find numerous of those streams there. Okay, so don't get too much into that. Now to the next topic, let's try to read from this file. Now we have written something in the file. Now I want to read from this file and try to print that into the console. So in that way we'll be done with writing to a file and then reading to a file. Okay, we'll be done with both of them. Okay. Yeah, we're going to do that inside the main block. So let's first put out a comment that now we are ready. We have already done the writing part. So this will be done by using the scanner class again, input output class, and I will try to declare an object and assign it the null value. Now it is showing me an error because we haven't imported that. So I will import the scanner class, and there you can see it has been defined inside the java.util utility. And again we are going to use the input output stream, so we are going to embed that particular stream into the try block. Sorry. Now I will pass a file reader object to this scanner object. Now the scanner object will encapsulate the file reader object. So I'm using an object of scanner class to first scan through the file, and the reader object will actually read the data and it will store in some of the variables if you wanted to, or if you want to convey that data onto some another, let's say, stream if you want to do, if you want to. And if then all after that, if you want to print it to the console, then you have the method available with you, that is system.out.println. Okay, so let's do that. So scn will be equal to new scanner class, and I will pass an object of type file reader. Okay, so new file reader, and inside that I have to pass the name of the file from which I want to read. Okay, so the file name was, I will read from the same file, that is my file 2.txt. Let me again tell you, if the name doesn't match, the block is going to throw an exception. Now let's add this particular also to the package, and okay, we are done with it. Okay, now again we'll try to read something while, and there's a method in the scanner class dot has next line, and what it will do is it will try to scan the file until there is a next line available, and if this method actually provides you with a boolean return value, that is a true or false, and it will return you false when there is no new line to read from the file, no new line in the file. Okay, so scanner will scan the file only if it will look only if there is something new in the file or not in the new line, and then the file reader will actually read the text. Okay, so this is how it is happening. So let's go inside the if block. As you people have familiar with the some of the methods in the scanner. So I'll do is S is equal to scn, sorry, dot next line. So what this method will do is it will read the string value from the file. I think you people must be familiar with the scanner class. We have already used that scanner class when we are going through the unit 2. Okay, now let's move ahead. As you can see, I have stored whatever be the read by the file for a particular line will be stored inside a variable called s. Now I will try to print that into the console.out.println, and just I will pass s, nothing else. Oops, I have done a mistake. Maybe yeah, and again we have to close the file, but we will not do here, we'll do inside the finally block. So let's insert a catch block, and again it will throw out an exception of input output type e, and e dot print the stack trace. Okay, we are done with it, and after this let's insert one more finally, and finally inside the finally again we're going to go through the if block and scn if it is not been closed, that is equal to null. In that place we have a method called scn.close, and as you can see I haven't done this particular thing, this particular block of code inside the try block, because we are actually closing the object of scanner class and not of the file reader class, because when this object is going to close, it is going to automatically close the object of file reader class. Okay, and this scanner class objects doesn't tend to throw exception. So that is why there is a difference in finally block. Here you can see this finally block is somewhat different than this finally block. It's concise. Okay, so I'll run this again. Let's run this, and I think we are done with it. Let's go see the console, and there it is. So whatever there is written in the myfile2.txt has now, first we have written to the file, and now we have read from the file using the stream file reader by encapsulating the object of file reader class inside a scanner class, and we have printed that particular data onto the console. So by doing this particular let's say example, we have done two things. First, the first objective is we are done with file writing and reading, and in the last lecture I've told you we are also going to see how to write to a console and how to read from the console, and actually we have done that already. We have written to the console by using the system.out.println, and you can read from the console by using this particular line. Okay, if you want to read string from the console, you can this line, and if you want to read the integer value from the console, you can use scn dot next int. We have already done with that. We have already done that in the unit 2. So reading and writing to the console, you can use the scanner class, that is reading from the console, and reading and writing to the file, we'll be using the file in case of character stream only. We'll be using FileWriter and FileReader class, including the help of the scanner class. So I think we are done with this. Anything else left in the input output section of this particular unit we're going to cover into the strings. So I think I have not shown you the example of how to read and write using the byte stream class, when we will be doing that inside the string. So let's say string topic using the buffered reader and writer classes. So those buffered reader and writer classes are actually defined in the byte string classes. So that is it. Thank you.